So let's talk about Elon Musk being hated by American right-wingers. I think this is a good thing. I do, because the American right turning against Elon Musk, I think it's good because it leads people, or it may lead people, to read more about Musk and research more about him and learn about how evil he actually is. Because I don't think a lot of people were really seeing his transhumanist ideology or his transhumanist agenda. They were just reading that Elon Musk is for free speech, and so they loved him as a hero. But then Elon Musk pissed them off by saying, hey, India has better minds than America does. And that disillusioned a lot of people. And through that disillusionment, people, I think, started looking into Elon Musk's actual agenda, and they began to learn about how insidious and evil his agenda really is. And so I think it's a good thing that the American right are turning against Musk, because that leaves an opportunity for people to learn more about his evil ways. He's a very bad guy, yeah. I rarely am here when you're streaming, but I like the interaction when you break them up afterwards. Oh, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you like that. Live stream is pretty tough on you. Yeah, not really tough on me. It just takes a lot of time. So the New York Times put out an article recently about this phenomenon of the American right saying, to hell with Elon Musk. So let's give this a read. We're going to read this whole thing, or at least most of it. I can't even look at a camera for more than a minute. Yeah, I know the feeling. As Elon Musk embraces far right, some of its top figures reject him. Okay, this is good. So people are waking up to this guy. Mr. Musk has fallen out with prominent right-wing Americans who say they are worried that their agenda may be sidelined in favor of his own. Yeah, they're right. And that he is willing to silence them on X. Let's highlight this thing as we go. Let's highlight some of the interesting points let's highlight any interesting points that we may find in this article. When Laura Loomer, a far-right activist, regained control of her Twitter account in late 2022, she knew whom to praise for her reinstatement. Thank you, Elon, she wrote. When I say his name like that, Elon, it reminds me of Resident Evil 4 when Ashley Graham gets picked up by the zombies. She goes, Leon! It's one of the hallmarks of that game. Thank you, Elon, she wrote to Elon Musk, who had recently bought the social network. In another post, Miss Loomer, who had been booted from the platform in 2018 for writing an anti-Muslim message, complimented Mr. Musk's commitment to free speech. Miss Loomer is now sharing a different message about Mr. Musk. She and a prominent group of right-wing figures, many of whom have enjoyed more visibility on the platform, renamed X, are increasingly raising alarms about Mr. Musk's influence over President-elect Donald Trump. So my guess is that their issues with Musk really has more to do with his favor towards lenient immigration, or his favor of leniently giving HB1 visas to Indians. I was literally about to say HB1 viruses, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a virus. But he seems to be gaining popularity in the European right. Yes, that's right. Vassal made a good observation. The American right has become, to a certain extent, disillusioned with Mr. Musk. And I said, this is a good thing. But he's gaining popularity in the European right. We're going to get into this. Because recently, Mr. Musk interviewed the leader of the AfD, Alice Weidel, or however you say her last name. Why is he interviewing Alice Weidel? Why is he pro-AFD? Why is he pro-Modi in India? Why is he pro-Tommy Robinson? Because he's attracting the European right. Because I think the European right, in my opinion, I think the European right is more open to Musk than the American right. That's my opinion. Because Musk is not really a right-winger in the American sense of the word. Musk is a right-winger in the European sense of the word. So the European right and the American right are not exactly the same. You may find American right wingers who are trying to copycat European right wingerism, however you say it. So, for example, you have people like the American identitarians. They're basically trying to copycat the Austrian or French identitaire. But most American conservatives are not like European right wingers. Most American conservatives are pro-life. They question the pharmaceutical industry. They question evolutionism, perhaps. But in the European right, there is an embracing of Darwinism. There is an embracing of evolutionism. There is an embracing of racialism to a great extent. And so Musk's ideology is more fitting for the European right, because the European right has no qualms about discussing human evolutionism. Whereas if you go to the American conservatives and you say, hey, you should put this Neuralink chip into your brain because it's going to make you into a Übermensch, a lot of Americans would resist such an idea. Yeah, Germany seems ready to embrace them. That's right. Yeah, I get the same impression. The Euro right seems more liberal. That's correct. Yeah, more liberal in the American sense. So I did a video about this a number of weeks ago where I talked about how what Americans don't understand is that what they're actually seeing with this new right-wing phenomenon is really the revival of old school liberalism. That's really what they're witnessing. They're witnessing the revival of old school liberalism. So if you look at old school mid-20th century progressivism, what you will see is a lot of eugenics, Darwinism, things of that sort, Malthusianism. That was once considered progressive. And so when people talk about the far right in Europe, which embraces Darwinism, what they're really referring to is a revived progressivism. The revival of authentic 20th century progressivism, not this new sugary form of liberalism which came out recently. Classical liberalism, I guess you could call it that, yeah. But this embracing of Darwin and eugenics is truly progressivism. And so Elon Musk is not a conservative in the American sense of the word. Elon Musk is a progressivist. He's a progressive. So the AfD in Germany, they embrace evolutionism. They embrace Darwinism. They embrace these ideas. They have a eugenist way of thinking. They're really just progressives. Progressivists, not progressives. They're progressivists. It's what they are. That's what these people are. So Elon Musk being this Silicon Valley liberal, of course he's going to find Europe more conducive for his ideology. Thoughts on the rise of the ACP? I'm sorry, I don't know what the ACP is. Can you explain? (1930s) eugenist Germany. That's correct. Have you heard about the book Project Mars, a technical tale written by Werner von Braun? I have not. But that is interesting because I do know that Werner von Braun had aspirations of going to Mars, and our friend Elon Musk also has a fantasy about colonizing Mars in order to enter the next stage of human evolution. So that is quite reminiscent of Werner von Braun. That's why I say Elon Musk is really a techno-fascist. That's why I titled my last video Techno-fascism. Because that's what we're witnessing. We are witnessing the rise of techno-fascism, where they want industry to dominate society. They want big tech industry to dominate society. And that's why Elon Musk is trying to influence the politics of these countries. He wants to dictate what parties do. That's why he told, for example, Reform UK to drop to drop Nigel Farage. He's literally dictating what a political party should do. And then he's telling the Germans who to vote for. Vote for AfD. And then he's telling the Germans, Mr. Steinmeier is a tyrant. He's bashing other politicians. Now, people will say, well, because I've noted that he is pro-BJP. he will censor for the BJP. And you could say, well, Ted, he's just trying to please the Indians to make money. Okay, fine, I'll grant that. But then why does he bash German politicians? Why does he criticize Nigel Farage while at the same time he will praise Narendra Modi? Because he has an agenda, and that agenda is accelerating the transition that we have been seeing in these last 10 years or so, accelerating the transition towards radicalism. He's another WEF young global leader. Who Musk is? Really? I didn't know that. After establishing verbal communication, the humans learn about the Martian social structure and their form of government, which is run by 10 men under the leadership of the Elon. You're kidding. You're kidding. That's so wacky. Transhumanist. He wore a Satan's Defender costume. Yeah, with the upside down cross. The guy's satanic. The guy's obviously satanic. But let's read on in this article. So let's see here. Apart from Miss Loomer, high-profile conservatives include Charlie Kirk and Stephen K. Bannon. Is it Stefan or Stephen? I always get them confused. Let's just say Stefan. Stephen K. Bannon have started speaking out against Mr. Musk on his policy positions. Batya Ungar Sargon, the conservative, she's also Israeli, by the way. Interesting last name, like Sargon. Are you an Akkadian? Are you an Akkadian or are you an Israeli? I mean, what you have a little identity crisis there. The conservative opinion editor of Newsweek recently called Mr. Musk a shill who censors opponents. Now that's interesting. Now that is interesting. Mike Davis, a lawyer close to Mr. Trump, told Mr. Musk on social media to stay in your lane. Now, why would Musk censor people? I thought he was against censorship. And why would he censor people who the Hindu nationalists back in India want censored? So when the BJP says, hey, I want this guy censored, Musk will censor that person. So why does he not mind censoring for the Hindu nationalists, while at the same time he also censors his own opponents in America? Maybe it's because he doesn't give a damn about free speech and he just wants to accelerate the transition towards global radicalism, be it Hindu radicalism or some sort of a European nationalist radicalism. Their criticism followed X's moves to suspend or otherwise restrict dozens of accounts that raised concerns about Mr. Musk and blocked links to articles about him. Ooh. Oh, wow, guys. So why would Elon Musk censor his opponents? Why would he censor his opponents? Interesting. Now, when the Hindu Nationalist Party in India, the BJP party, tells Musk to censor people that are critical of the BJP, Musk will acquiesce to their demands. So why is Musk censoring people who are critical of the BJP while also censoring people who are critical of him? Because he's not for free speech. This guy doesn't give a damn about free speech. He just simply wants to accelerate the process of entering or transitioning into radicalism, be it Hindu radicalism, German nationalist radicalism, British radicalism. He wants to push for right-wing radicalism. That's what he loves. That's what he wants. So he will say, I'm for free speech. But then when the BJP says censor these accounts, get rid of these accounts, he will listen. When the Brazilian government told him to get rid of certain accounts because those accounts were considered, those accounts were being used to coordinate political violence for Brazil's right wing, he refused to acquiesce to the demands of the Brazilian government. Why? Because those accounts are right wing. They were for Bolsonaro, Mr. Bolsonaro. And eventually he did acquiesce to the Brazilian demands because he has to follow the rules. He has to follow the laws if he wants X to be in that market, and Brazil is a pretty big market. The point being, he did not act stubborn when it came to the BJP. He does not act stubborn. He acquiesces to the BJP. And then when Modi won his election, he congratulated Modi. He said, "Oh, congratulations, Narendra Modi. Congratulations, Narendra Modi." But he will bash other politicians. He will bash Nigel Farage because Nigel Farage, even though Nigel Farage and Mr. Musk are both in agreement over everything when it comes to policy, when it comes to the problems with immigration, Mr. Musk was literally calling for Reform UK to topple Nigel Farage. Why is that? Why is that? Why? So here's my issue here. There's a lot of bad faith argumentation that's being used when it comes to Elon Musk. If I say, look, Elon Musk is censoring people because the BJP wants those people censored, people will say, well, he's simply following the rules. And this is the argument that Musk himself will utilize. He will say, well, I simply have to follow the rules, and I don't want to do it, but I have to follow the rules. But why didn't you act so easily controlled when it came to Brazil? Why didn't you acquiesce quickly enough when it came to Brazil? Why did you resist the Brazilian government's demand to censor certain people? Oh, because they went against your ideology. Why is it that, for example, Narendra Modi wins an election and he says, congratulations, Narendra Modi. But when Nigel Farage disagrees with him on one thing, and that is accepting Tommy Robinson, Musk says, get rid of this guy. He tells Reform UK to get rid of him. He dangles a $100 million donation to try to coerce Reform UK. Why is it that he will attack German politicians? He will criticize openly German politicians, but he doesn't criticize BJP. He does not criticize Hindu nationalism because he has an ideology and he has an agenda. And the agenda is quite simple. It's quite obvious. The agenda is to accelerate the process of right-wing fanaticism. That is the agenda. Because if he was just this neutral guy who follows the rules, he would have never resisted Brazil. He would have just listened to Brazil. He would just say, okay, we need Nigel Farage, and Nigel Farage is very popular, so I'm not going to attack Nigel Farage. I'm going to support him because I think he should win. No. He begins to dictate what Reform UK should do because he wants Tommy Robinson to be popular. Because why does he want Tommy Robinson? Because Tommy Robinson is a troublemaker. He's a hooligan who will incite mobs. And he wants that. He wants the chaos. Why does he attack Steinmeier in Germany? Because he wants the AfD. Why does he want the AfD? Because he wants radicalism. So that's what this guy is doing. It's not like, oh, he's just this neutral guy. No. He will attack certain politicians while praising others. It's very clear. But you have people who want to gaslight you, and they'll say, well, he's just a neutral guy. He's following the rules. That's a bunch of stupidity. So he will say, I'm for free speech, but he will actually censor people on his own website because he wants to censor them. Now, I got cut off because of the bad internet connection when I was explaining this to you guys, but my experience with Twitter, with X really, has been quite negative because every single time I post either a thumbnail or a URL on X, I always get censored. And I know for a fact that I get censored because X lets me know that I'm getting censored. X will literally say, sorry, your material is considered sensitive material, and so we're just going to put a warning. We're going to slap a warning on whatever it is that you're posting. I get this every single day from X. Why? Meanwhile, you have people praising Adolf Hitler on this damn website, but that's okay. You see how sick everything is? Guys, it's a trap, damn it. It is a trap. People fall for it. Their criticism followed X's moves to suspend or otherwise restrict dozens of accounts that raised concerns about Mr. Musk and blocked links to articles. Oh, he blocked certain links. What about free speech? What happened to free speech? That's all bullshit, guys. Just like the French revolutionaries were all about free speech and they cut people's heads off. They said, we are about freedom. Liberté, equality. We about equity for all to help mankind. Yes, follow me. Oh, you have a book that has the word king in it? Off with his head, damn it! Put this man's head on a guillotine and chop his head off. He has the word king in a book. He is against the rules. Censor him by taking away his life. Well, this didn't happen. This didn't happen to me under King Louis the whatever. It does not matter. It matters not. Do not bring and mention the name of that disgraceful king in my presence. Put his head on the guillotine and lop it off immediately, damn it. That's what you're dealing with. See, this is why I say you got to read history. When I say read history, I ain't talking about the Iliad and the Odyssey and Gilgamesh. I'm talking about the French Revolution, the Roman-Judean War. You got to read that history. Why? Because in the Roman-Judean War, what do you learn about? You learn about, well, how you had these rebellious Jews, and they were talking about liberty and freedom from the Roman Empire. Yes, damn it. Shalom Aleichem. Yahweh Akbar. We're going to fight against the Romans. We're going to do it for freedom. Freedom. And in the name of freedom, the Jewish people butchered one another in the most horrendous ways you can imagine. By the tens of thousands, they butchered one another. In the name of freedom, they killed each other. In the name of freedom, they took the freedom of others. In the name of freedom, they canceled the liberty of others. In the name of freedom, they degraded the dignity of others. They always say that, well, so many people have been killed in the name of God, but they never talk about how so many endless lives have been taken in the name of freedom. Because when freedom becomes the god of the society, people will kill in the name of freedom. 1 million Iraqis were killed under the guise of bringing freedom to that country. Well, so many people were killed in the name of God. Let's talk about the people who were killed in the name of liberty. They don't talk about that. French Revolution, they beheaded hundreds of thousands of people. Butchered them, drowned them, put them in ships, made them get naked. They would take a woman and a man and tie them together with a rope, put them in these ships and sink the ships and kill everybody inside of them. They killed thousands of people, and there was a French soldier, or he was a military commander of some sort of rebel France, and he took part in the genocide of the Vendée people in France. The Vendéans were an ethnic group who were very Catholic, and they didn't want to acquiesce to the satanic ideology of the French Revolution, and so they were genocided. They were massacred by the hundreds of thousands. And there was that French rebel leader who rode on his horse and he trampled on French kids. And then he wrote a letter back to the rebel government saying, I've trampled on the children. I'm so proud what I have done. Look how many people I've killed. We've drowned them in the ships. We've just slaughtered them. And he says the children have been trampled under the hooves of my horse. And they want to tell you about freedom. They try to seduce you with freedom, with language such as that flowery language of freedom. People weaponize the word freedom so they can get power over others. And once they get that power, they take away your freedom. Let's go back to the article. Citing violations of its terms of service. Over the weekend, Mr. Musk drew further ire from conservatives for using his X account to attack Nigel Farage, an ally of Mr. Trump. Yeah, why is he attacking Mr. Farage? You would think, okay, Mr. Farage is in the middle of an election. He's trying to win a major election in the UK. He doesn't want to interact with freaking hooligans, all right? He doesn't want to interact with a bunch of soccer bums. It's not soccer, mate. It's football. This is America. We call it soccer because they wear socks up to their knees, so we call it soccer, all right? Hey, mate, it's not soccer, mate. You fucking wanker cunt, mate. It's not soccer, mate. It's football, mate. It's football, mate. Well, he doesn't want to hang out with a bunch of football losers, all right? So because of that, Elon Musk then attacks him. The guy is an absolute creep, and he's attacking Farage while he's in the middle of this election. You would think, okay, I want to help Farage. I want to get Farage in there. And then once you get Farage in office, okay, then we can talk about what he should do while he's in power. But that's not what Musk is doing. Automatically goes for the attack on Farage. So then it says here, so he attacks Farage, who was an ally of Mr. Trump and the head of Britain's far right Reform UK. I wouldn't call it exactly far right. Maybe it's right, but I don't think it's exactly far right. To me, far right is Nazi. When I hear far right, I'm thinking Nazi, right? Eugenics. I haven't heard any eugenics from Farage, although I could be wrong. But I do know that Farage was working with Dominic Cummings, who was a hardcore eugenist. That's a fact. And I would love to see someone confronting Farage on Dominic Cummings. I would love to see that, but I haven't seen that. Yeah, Mel Gibson. Only Mel Gibson can tell us about freedom. If it's not Mel Gibson, I don't want to hear him. So it says here, Mr. Musk, 53 years old, has rapidly vaporized some of the goodwill he built with Mr. Trump's supporters after campaigning heavily for the Republican presidential candidate last year. Some right-wing personalities who championed Mr. Musk's foray into Republican politics now say they feel deceived and worry that their agenda may be sidelined in favor of his own. And I can see that. As a loyal supporter of Mr. Trump, I support him enough to sound the alarm on what's becoming a liability, Ms. Loomer said. And, for the first time ever, I find myself agreeing with Loomer. I've never really agreed with Loomer. I've never really was a fan of hers, but I will say I agree with her on this one. I think she's right. As a loyal supporter of President Trump, I support him enough to sound the alarm, Ms. Loomer said in an interview. Ms. Loomer, whose X account was temporarily suspended last month after she criticized Mr. Musk's view on immigration, added, "You're not allowed to question Elon. It seems that, and the looming question is Donald Trump going to step in before it creates a crisis for his administration?" Mr. Musk and X did not respond to requests. Of course not. On Tuesday, Mr. Trump said Mr. Musk had said some negative things about politicians in Europe. Yeah, he did. He attacked Mr. Steinmeier and called him a tyrant. Meanwhile, he's supporting the AfD, which is filled with Holocaust deniers and people who don't like Holocaust memorials and people who are sympathetic with Nazis. They're not tyrants, but the other ones are, right, of course. The president-elect did not name Mr. Farage, but was doing a good job, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Musk's falling out with some on the far right stands out as he increasingly embraces more extreme parties. Yeah, that's right. And figures globally, including in Germany, where he has backed a political party with ties to neo-Nazis and plans to host a live stream with one of its leaders, and he already did this. So this is true, and I think perhaps what's happening is Mr. Musk has said, okay, I'm not getting the support from the Americans, but I know I'm going to get the support from the Nazis over there in Europe. Yeah. So, yeah. Laura Loomer is a Semite. Yes, she has a very Semitic face. I don't even have to look up her early life. I know just by looking at her. But my point is that he wants radicalism. So if Reform UK is going to be radical, it's going to have to absorb and embrace the UK's far-right football hooligan culture. Farage doesn't want to do that for good reasons. And so for that reason, in turn, Elon Musk has attacked Farage because he doesn't want Farage. He wants Farage to absorb that hooligan radicalism. That's what he wants Farage to do. But because Farage hasn't done that, and because Farage doesn't want to do that, he now attacks Farage. Do you see how sick this guy is? He's sick, this guy. But he wants radicalism, be it UK hooliganism, be it German ultranationalism or identitarianism, or be it Hindu nationalism. This guy wants nationalism. He wants radicalism, but not just any kind of radicalism. He wants far-right nationalist radicalism. Some Trump fans, such as Alex Jones, the founder of the conspiracy theory site InfoWars, remain supportive of Mr. Musk. Of course. Yep, that doesn't surprise me at all about Mr. Alex Jones. Still, the split raises questions about whether the billionaire and right-wing Trump supporters are allies of convenience. In some ways, Mr. Musk has become a target of the principles he has championed on X by allowing Ms. Loomer and others who were barred from the platform to return. Speech suppression on Elon Musk's X is nothing new, and the claims of free speech absolutism were always performative, said Evelyn Douek, a Stanford Law School professor who studies the regulation of online speech. It's especially poetic that these charges are coming from someone like Loomer, whose account reinstatement was supposedly emblematic of the dawn of a new era on Twitter. Oh, we got the Elden Ring music playing. Ms. Loomer, a two-time Republican congressional candidate who has described Islam as a cancer, broke from Mr. Musk a few days before Christmas after posting on X about her unhappiness with Shriram Krishnan, an Indian-American venture capitalist who Mr. Trump picked to advise on artificial intelligence. She said Mr. Krishnan supported expanding the use of H-1B... I was about to say virus. I don't know why. My brain just says virus! H-1B virus! No, it's H-1B visas. To bring skilled foreign workers to U.S. companies, which she decried. So this is the beginning of the shift against Musk right here. Right here. This is it. It's the hatred of the idea of just allowing more Indians into America. A lot of people just do not want more Indians in America. And if you guys have not noticed, the hatred against Indians has been growing tremendously. It has been growing a lot lately. And the reason for this is because a lot of people are tired of the U.S. government just making it so easy for so many tech workers from India, or really the Indian subcontinent, into the United States. And to add salt to injury, or to kick a man when he's down, you have people like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk saying, well, we would hire more Americans if you Americans were smarter, but you're not. You are inferior to the Hindu-Aryan minds. The Indian scams, that's absolutely correct. Yes, that's another big reason. Something happened, I want to say in 2018, when America just started getting flooded with Indian scam callers. Yeah, just tons of calls from Indian scams, and I get them every single day. If I look at my phone's history, if I look at my phone's record for all the phone calls that I receive, I get called every 5 minutes or so by an Indian scammer. And I don't hear the ring because I turn the ring off for all scam calls, but I check my... If I check my phone records on my cell phone, it'll say call, scam, call, scam, call, scam, call, scam, call, scam, call, scam, call. And all these calls are from the Indian subcontinent. The reason why I say the Indian subcontinent, as opposed to India, is because a lot of these callers are from India, but they're also from Pakistan, and they're also from Bangladesh, and I'm going to throw in Sri Lanka there. I haven't heard anyone say they're from Sri Lanka yet, but there probably are Sri Lankan scam callers. There has to be. I mean, at this point, there's got to be a few of them at least. There was a Jewish guy who asked Indian workers in New Jersey to sign a petition against the spread of the H-1B virus. Oh, that's clever. You can block them. You can block them by going onto your iPhone settings and saying block all suspicious numbers or something like that. Yeah, you can do that. Mr. Musk, who has used the visas to hire workers at his companies, including Tesla, defended the program as a way to attract top talent from around the world. Now, there's an interesting distinction to be made here. So, in the world of immigration, when it comes to getting skilled workers, there's the H-1B, and then there's another one known as the O-1. So here's where Elon Musk is being disingenuous. Elon Musk will say, well, I'm just looking for the topmost talent of India, or I want like those just the absolute rare geniuses of India. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking to bring in people by the droves and all this stuff. I'm just looking to bring in the top minds. That's all I'm looking for. And that's actually disingenuous. Because if he was truly just looking for that top fraction of a percentage of Indian geniuses, he would be saying, I want to maintain the O1 program. He would be pushing for the O1 program. So there's H1B and then there's O1. O1 is, and I'm going to read this out, is a non-immigrant visa for foreign nationals who have extraordinary ability in a specific field. Now, if he said, I want to give out O1 visas, that would be different. That would be different because the O1 visa requires, in order to get an O1 visa, that requires the person to be a genius. That requires the person to be of extraordinary and rare ability in a specific field. So if he said, I want O1 immigrants, then that would be different because then you would be asking for a really, really small number of people to come in from India into the United States. And I don't think anyone has a problem with that. But he said, I want H1B. That would enable, we're talking tens of thousands of people, somewhere around 85,000 people a year to enter America every single year. They're O1 visa immigrants. Okay, who are the O1 YouTube? I have to do a fact check now. Influencers or content creators could arguably qualify for an O. Okay, can you give me a name of a YouTuber who got an O1B visa for just being a YouTuber? I'm interested. Gaming YouTubers. Okay, and I'm sure they're a rarity, right? So it says here that in 2018, there were 16,904 visas issued. Okay, how many H-1B visas per year? 65,000. So there are a lot more H-1B visas issued than O-1 visas. That's my point. If he said, I want an O-1 visa, I favor an O-1 visa policy, he would be getting a lot less people coming into the country. But he doesn't want that. He wants H-1B, which if you maintain the current policy that we have in regards to H-1B, you would be getting a lot more people. You're getting a lot more people with H-1B visas than O-1 visas. So if he pushed just for O1, he'd be getting a lot less people. But that's the thing. My point is that he's being disingenuous when he says, I just want the top, the cream of the crop type people. If that was the case, he would be saying O1, but he's not. He's saying H1B. Mr. Musk, who has used the visas to hire workers at his companies, including Tesla, defended the program as a way to attract top talent. Okay, then use the O1 program. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. As the argument escalated, Ms. Loomer and Mr. Bannon framed Mr. Musk's view on foreign workers as an insult to Mr. Trump's Make America Great Again. They said Mr. Musk was beholden to his business interests, including Tesla's ties to China, and questioned if it was appropriate for someone to hold such financial sway over their party. Mr. Musk spent more than $250 million to help Mr. Trump win the election. Mr. Musk became addicted to the adoration the rallies gave him in the run-up to Election Day, Mr. Bannon said in a message to the New York Times. But that quickly turned to derision when MAGA saw he thought of them as lazy and mediocre. On December 26th, X suspended Ms. Loomer's account for 12 hours. In messages to Ms. Loomer, X said she had violated its terms of service by posting an image from the Federal Election Commission website that included the home address of political donors. Now, that I agree with Musk. If you're posting people's addresses, you should be banned automatically. It should be an automatic ban. It should not even be tolerated. So in this case, I agree with Musk, and this is not a violation of free speech. This is just a good rule to follow. Without additional explanation, X also removed Ms. Loomer's checkmark, which X users pay for so their accounts can get increased engagement, blah, blah, blah. That same day, Preston Parra, the chairman of conservative PAC, a political action committee formed to support Mr. Trump's policies, discovered that his X account had also lost its checkmark. Interesting. If Logan Paul wasn't from the US, he would probably get an H01, but Logan Paul is like one of the top YouTubers ever. So even in the world of YouTube, Logan Paul he's in the top 1% or so. Yeah. He and Miss Loomer were among more than 50 members of a group on X connected to conservative PAC, many of whom had blasted H-1Bs or Mr. Musk. Every member's account lost its checkmark, suggesting that it was a coordinated move, Mr. Pata said. I voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Elon, he said in an interview. Blah, blah, blah. Anastasia Maria Lupus, a doctor in Denmark with more than 1.3 million followers on X, who has called immigrants terrorists, said her account also lost its checkmark on December 30th after she criticized H-1B visas and Mr. Musk. On Monday, she wrote that she would take legal action against X. Mr. Musk acts like the grand savior of free speech, Dr. Lupus said in a post, but bases decisions only on his selfish ambition, etc., etc. This is the stuff I don't like reading. I don't like reading just people's opinions. I want to see certain facts that prove things. The Trump victory doesn't feel right. It was too easy. Well, it was very easy. Yeah, extremely easy for Mr. Trump. They literally just gave him an opponent that they knew was going to lose. There's no way that Kamala Harris was going to win anything, and everybody knew it, and all the Democrats who are in power knew that. The only people who thought that Kamala Harris was going to win were her delusional fans. That was it. Everyone else knew that she was going to lose. And I remember doing a video before election night. I said, they're setting this woman up to lose, and I was right. Everyone knows what it takes to win. You know, everyone knows what it takes to win an election. You got to have a certain face. You got to have a certain voice. You got to have a certain personality. You got to have a certain body. Yes, a certain body. If you're a little 5'4" guy from Sri Lanka with 8 chins or with no neck, and you look like an Indian version of the Pillsbury Doughboy, you ain't going to win a damn thing. It takes a certain body. You got to be big. You got to be, if you're a guy, you got to be big. You got to have broad shoulders. You got to be tall. You know, all these things are going to help you. If you're a woman, big tits, narrow waist, hot. You know, I don't make the rules. It just is what it is. It says here, on Sunday, X suspended the accounts of the article's author. Okay, which article? Hold on. Over the weekend, Mr. Musk faced fresh criticism for censorship when X blocked links to an investigative article by The Spectator. Okay, so now we're getting into dangerous territory here. A conservative British publication about an X account that some believed Mr. Musk secretly controlled. Ooh, interesting. The article suggested that the account, Adrian Dittman, was operated by a man in Fiji. So according to The Spectator, there is an account called Adrian Dittman that supposedly is operated by a man in Fiji, but that Musk secretly controls. So The Spectator did an article saying these things, making these claims, and now I'm going to have to read it because that is an interesting claim to make, if true. And Musk suspended the accounts of the article's author. Why? I thought this was free speech. I guess you can't criticize the dictator, the Führer, Elon Musk. So it says here that the article's author and 2 researchers who contributed to the piece, X had identified the article as potentially harmful, and messages sent to the journalists and researchers showed that X said they had violated its rules on sharing people's personal information. What? X has faced accusations. Hold on. So they're saying that, well, the author shared people's personal information? How? Because they said in the art, or they demonstrate in the article that Musk is using a secret whatever. It's just, this is bizarre. X has faced accusations of opposing free speech and acting like the site's previous management. Ooh, isn't that what happens? This is what I was trying to tell you guys. People use terms like freedom of speech and liberty and freedom, democracy. People use these terms as weapons to destroy their enemies. And once those enemies are destroyed, they will begin to violate the very principles that they claim to uphold when they were going against the previous leader. Saddam Hussein was against free speech. They said, well, we got to bring free speech and democracy to Iraq. And what happened? They overthrew Saddam Hussein. And then what did you end up with? You ended up with less freedom of speech and less democracy. Well, no democracy really, because Iraq got overran by a bunch of thugs who didn't believe in democracy. And you cannot have democracy and freedom in a land that's overran by criminals. It's impossible. You can't. There is no freedom in anarchy. There's no such thing as freedom in anarchy, because when you have anarchy, you have lawlessness. And where there is no law, there is no freedom. I've seen videos where people play some podcast of Adrian. They say it's Musk pretending not to be. Interesting. Bonnet Elon Muscolini. Yeah, there we go. X has faced accusations of opposing free speech and acting like the site's previous management, which blocked a New York Post article about Hunter Biden before the 2020 election. I remember this. I remember they were blocking posts that were exposing Hunter Biden, and the U.S. government, or the FBI, which is part of the U.S. government, told X to censor those posts, and X acquiesced, just like Musk will acquiesce to the BJP when the BJP says that we want certain accounts to be deactivated because the owners of those accounts are critical of the BJP. This is what old Twitter did to the New York Post, wrote Stephen L. Miller, a right-wing commentator. Matt McDonald, the U.S. managing editor at The Spectator, said there was an irony to Mr. Musk's actions, particularly as he was turning the world upside down in the name of free speech. Ooh, that's a good way to put it. Perhaps X is not the free speech paradise its more ardent fans believe it to be, Mr. McDonald said in a statement. See, I like the way this guy worded it. Turning the world upside down in the name of free speech. I like that. I'm going to use that one. I like that, because what is Musk doing? He is supporting radicals, German radicals, British radicals, Indian radicals. He is promoting all of these radicalisms, all of these fanatics. He supports them. He loves them. He embraces them. He wants to advance them using X. And he's doing all of this evil in the name of free speech. He's promoting eugenics in the name of free speech. He wants everyone to have this Neuralink chip implanted into their brains in the name of free speech, when the reality is that this guy's just going to bring us into a dystopian nightmare. That's the reality. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom, absolutely. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. That is correct. That is correct. And people say, why are there so many cops in the poor neighborhoods of America? Because those people are corrupt. They are. They're corrupt, and they are more in need of masters called police officers. Or as St. Paul says in the New Testament, the law is not made for the just, but for the unjust. The law is not made for the lawful, but for the lawless. Lawful people are lawful because they love law. They love orderliness. They love harmony. They love order. Evil people are lawless because they hate law and they hate order. So those are the people who need police officers. Or if you live in a neighborhood that's filled with these types of people, your neighborhood needs police officers because your neighborhood needs law enforcement. That's why it's called law enforcement anyway. Mr. Musk turned on Mr. Farage. Yes, I did a video about this after the politician pushed back against Mr. Musk's support of Tommy Robinson, an anti-immigration agitator with several criminal convictions who is currently imprisoned for contempt of court. They defunded the police. Lawless people want to defund the police. People who hate law and order want to defund the police. The reason why you have certain communities in America that push for defunding the police is because those communities have a religion and a cult of criminality. That's the bottom line. even if those people themselves are not lawbreakers themselves, they will vocally support criminals and they will vocally support lawbreakers because they have a cult of criminality. Mr. Musk turned on Mr. Farage. Yes, that's correct. The Reform Party needs a new leader, Mr. Musk wrote on Sunday. Farage doesn't have what it takes, damn it. See how he's trying to dictate things? He's trying to dictate the politics of other parties because he wants to guide them. He wants to get them to be on a certain route that he wants them to be on. And that route is paved in a way to where it's heading towards radicalism. Criminals, chaos, lawlessness. Over the weekend, Mr. Farage told news outlets that he had a good relationship with Mr. Musk. Oh, God, I love this. Hold on. I got to say something about this part here. This is amazing. So over the... Ooh. You see what happened to me right there, guys? I took one look at this photo, and I became Neo. When Morpheus was walking him down the street, was walking with him down the busy street, and then Neo got distracted when he saw a lady in a red dress, and so he's not listening to Morpheus when Morpheus was giving him the truth about the Matrix, and he tells Neo, "Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you paying attention to the woman in the red dress?" And then Morpheus says, "Look again." And Neo looks again. Boom! Gun on his head. That's me right there. I was with Morpheus. We were studying the Matrix. We were looking at the Matrix. And I saw the woman in the red dress. You see what happened to me right there? You see what happened to me? Yeah. See, I was looking. I was like, yeah, Farage. Yeah, Musk, Twitter, what's going on? Is that Farage's wife? Even she's worried. She's like, he better not be... He's like, you better not be looking, Farage. You better not be looking, Nigel. Nigel, you bet... Nigel's trying so hard not to turn around right now. Lucky for us, we have a photograph that shows what was behind Mr. Farage. But you see, I got distracted there. I'm like Neo. Now I got a gun pointed on my head. But let's read on, shall we? Oh, man. Over the weekend, Mr. Over the weekend, Mr. Farage told news outlets that he had a good relationship with Mr. Musk. You see, this is how things work. They say, "Oh, Mr. Musk is on our side." Right? All these Americans, "Mr. Musk is on our side." Musk turns around, "Yeah, you guys are idiots." "What?" "Yeah, you're morons. Hindus are smarter than you." "What?" "Cow worshippers are smarter than you." What? Mr. Farage comes along and he says, "Oh no, I have the support of Elon Musk. He completely supports me, damn it. I say he's a good man. He supports me. He supports me." And then Mr. Musk turns around and says, Nigel, you don't have what it takes, Nigel." "What? What did you say?" "You don't have what it takes. I thought you supported me, Mr. Musk. What happened? Elon, what happened?" "Yeah, your party should topple you. You should be overthrown by your party. I'm going to dangle this $100 million donation. Yep, they should acquiesce to my demands." That's what I say. You see what goes on? People will jump to the conclusion that a certain person supports them when the reality is that person doesn't give a damn about them. That person is just using people for their own advantage. So Elon Musk used the American people. He said, "Oh, I'm going to support Trump and I'm going to give you guys free speech. And, oh, we love you, Musk. Oh, by the way, you guys are idiots." "What?" "Yeah, you guys are morons." "Yep." But yeah, the cow worshippers, they're smarter than you. "That is right, Elon. We are smarter than them because we are the true Aryan. We are the true Aryan cow worshippers, damn it. They are not." Let's skip the lady in the red dress. All right, let's move on here. Mr. Musk's comments about Mr. Farage incensed incensed Mr. Bannon, and others who see the Britain as perhaps the best way of introducing populist policies in that country. So Mr. Bannon said, hey, Musk, what the hell are you doing? We're supposed to be supporting Nigel. And Musk is like, no, because he doesn't support the hooligans. I want him to support the hooligans. He needs to support the soccer thugs. He needs to support the soccer thugs. Because he wants radicalism, you see? Now, Mr. Bannon starts kissing Nigel Farage's ass, and he says Nigel Farage is the greatest living Englishman, having fought for 20 years to get his country's sober sovereignty back. And Mr. Musk attacks him. Raheem Kassam, a former advisor to Mr. Farage and the editor of the National Pulse, I think Kassam was once with Breitbart, if I'm not mistaken, a right-wing U.S. news outlet, responded more succinctly to Mr. Musk. You're a moron. Wow. You're a moron, Mr. Musk. And that's it. That's the end of the article. It literally ends with that. Now, what's happening here? As I said earlier on in the stream, what's happening is you have a bunch of Americans who got disillusioned with Mr. Musk because he said that cow worshippers are smarter than them. So he truly added an insult to them. And then Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy added insult to injury with his little smirk, and he said, well, you know, you guys prize and you guys favor mediocrity, whereas his country has more smartphones than toilets. Go figure. And they'll say, well, because the smartphone is superior to the toilet, are you going to tell me that toilet systems are more important than cell phones? Yes, actually, they are. They are. I would rather live in a society that had 0 iPhones and had toilets. Absolutely. Because at least it would be clean. And cleanliness, as the old Protestant saying goes, is close to godliness. And if cleanliness is close to godliness, then India is close to Satan. And it is, because they worship Shiva and God knows what else over there, which are all demons. They worship demons, those people. All the Hindu gods are demons. All of them are. All of them. And I noticed that when I start talking about certain topics, it triggers certain people to listen to the stream. So I guess YouTube has an algorithm, has an AI censor system where it can hear certain words and says, oh, this stream is good for this person. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some Hindu fanatics popping up in the stream right now. But yes, the Hindu gods are all demons. That's right. That's what they are. They're demons. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So Vivek and Elon Musk, they added insult to injury. And so that disillusioned a lot of Americans. I think this is great because now people are starting to, and I've noticed this on Twitter, I've noticed this on X, that a lot more people are talking about Elon Musk's transhumanist agenda. And so that opinion about Musk is becoming more popular because people are now, through disillusionment, are being more open, or they're starting to open their eyes to the dark reality of the Musk cult.